Back with another video singing about opera songs and what they mean. Hello again. We're back again this week with another What the Heck Are They Singing video where we talk about opera songs and other just foreign language classical music pieces and what the lyrics are trying to say. And yeah, it's been a pretty popular series. I've really enjoyed doing this series so far because it's just like there's so many fun songs. Yeah. So we're back again this week, and this week I decided to do one from Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, and we're doing Voi che sapete. So I chose this piece because I wanted something fun. I wanted something that I really enjoy, like the lyrics of, and I tried to pick an aria. I tried, keyword tried, to pick an aria that was not traditionally done, but I've noticed I tend to pick a lot of like female arias, like soprano and alto type arias, and I was like, I should try looking for a guy aria, and I kind of failed. I kind of succeeded, but I still kind of failed. So we're gonna do Voi che sapete this week. I feel like I usually have more to say on that, but I guess this time we'll just jump right in. Okay. So, jumping right away into the background, let's talk a little bit about this aria and kind of like where this fits into the whole overall opera. So the opera is The Marriage of Figaro, which is second, like a sequel to okay, hold on, back up here. So The Marriage of Figaro, it actually comes from a series of books about this man Figaro. They were novels published back in, I believe it was the 18th century, perhaps a little bit earlier, but nonetheless that was about the time when these novels came out. And this is more of a sequel to The Barber of Seville, which you probably know more from Rossini's version, his opera on that story. But Mozart decided to do the second installment. I believe it's the second installment, but it comes after the Barber of Seville. Mozart decided to do an aria on that particular story. And what this story is about several different things. There's lots of different characters and there's a lot going on in this aria, but mostly it centers around Figaro and his marriage to Susanna. And there's a lot of chaos involved because Figaro is the servant to the Count and Susanna is the servant to the Countess. And there's some shenanigans going on between the Count kind of wants Susanna and wants to implement these old archaic laws that allows him to have marital rights to Susanna a little bit before Figaro gets a chance, and Figaro is not having that, and the Countess doesn't like the fact that the Count is kind of cheating on her. So yeah, there's big old story here, and it's complete chaos, and that's why I think this opera is so much fun and very fitting. I can totally understand why somebody like Mozart would pick this to do an opera on, but actually none of that has anything to do with the story of this aria in particular, because that all has to do with sort of the main characters like the Count, the Countess, Figaro, and Susanna. Those are the big four of this story. But this aria in particular, Voi che sapete, is actually sung by Cherubino, and Cherubino is more of a side character. Now, if you're not super familiar with the aria and you just kind of go watch a video of it the first time, you might be a little bit confused as to like what Cherubino is and like who Cherubino is, because traditionally speaking, Cherubino is a pants role. In other words, it's a male role that's performed by a female. And typically, the reason why this is done in a lot of arias is because it's meant to be a young boy. So you want that kind of young boy sound to the voice, but obviously young children cannot sing opera. In fact, high schoolers can't really sing opera for the most part. You can give high schoolers like easier operas, but in terms of like opera is just so demanding on the adult voice in general, that expecting that kind of level of performance out of younger children and high schoolers, and sometimes even college students to a certain extent, depending on how good they are, it can be a little bit too much. So instead of getting a young boy, because you're not going to stick a full-grown man in that role, it's just not going to read the same way, it's much easier to stick a woman in that role. And generally pants roles are done by mezzo-sopranos, because they're not going to sing too high, but they're still going to sing high enough that it's going to, at least on stage, be convincing enough that they're supposed to be a boy. So that's what Cherubino is. And Cherubino is this pants role, and Cherubino is definitely a young boy, because it is in this scene where he is sort of singing about, he's not sort of, he really is, he's singing about love. And that's kind of Cherubino's whole arc in this storyline. He doesn't really have much of an arc. He doesn't really change much or do anything. He basically spends the whole entire opera just being obsessed with women. And not in any kind of weird, creepy kind of way. He spends the opera being obsessive about women because he's a young boy who's clearly just starting to hit into puberty and is suddenly hitting this realization of, oh, I like girls a lot. And so that's so he has an aria before this one. And that's kind of what that aria is spent on, is him confessing to Susanna, I can't stop thinking about women. I can't stop obsessing about love. I can't stop thinking about girls. Just this feeling of love is in my heart, and I don't know what to do, and it's driving me crazy, but I really love it, and it's crazy. And so he flirts with like literally every woman in existence. He flirts with Susanna. There's implied that he flirts with this gardener's daughter. He flirts with every single girl. But in this scene in particular, it is especially known that Cherubino has a huge crush on the Countess. And he absolutely adores her. Like, he loves every other girl out there too, but he is in love with the Countess. So earlier in the opera, Cherubino had been singing his first aria and told Susanna that he liked the Countess, which she already knew. Everybody already knew. But he gave her this song that he wrote for the Countess and was just like, do whatever you want with it. And she, of course, tells the Countess because she thinks it's funny that this little boy has a crush on her. Then later on, at some point, Susanna and the Countess are in the chambers, the Countess's chambers together. And then at some point, Figaro brings Cherubino into the room and leaves Cherubino to be with the two women. And Susanna goes, oh, Cherubino, you're here. You should sing that song that you wrote for the Countess. And Cherubino's like, okay. And so this song is supposed to be the song that he wrote for the Countess. Sort of is, it's not really confessing his love to her, but it definitely is kind of like implying like, I'm a young teenage boy and I don't know what to do. Also, one quick thing before I get too much into the lyrics, I just want to quick note that I will try to link a good version of this song down in the description below if you want to see it, because I like to try to link to stage performances, because it's one thing to see the words and listen to the music and know what the lyrics are saying, but it adds a whole other element if you're able to see it actually being performed and actually being acted out. And I think there are several great versions of women doing Cherubino's aria here, but it's so cute seeing this one on stage, because it's just that like panicky and nervous and anxious Cherubino like singing in front of like his crush, and just these great women doing a beautiful job of what it is, what a teenage boy looks like. So yeah, I will link that down in the description below if you're interested in seeing a good version of it. But let's actually get into the lyrics. We start off with the first few lines. So, voi che sapete che cosa è amor. So you that know what is love. So Cherubino is basically, he has written this song to kind of express his emotions and what he's feeling, but also at the same time to kind of ask for like help, sort of, in a way, because he's just like, I don't know what it is I'm going through and experiencing right now, and like, you're a full-grown woman and you have lots of life experience on me, so tell me what it is. Tell me what it is that you're feeling. So you that know love. Donne vedete se io l'ho nel cor. So woman, you see if I have it in my heart. And then he repeats that again. Donne vedete se io l'ho nel cor. So woman, you see if I have it in my heart. So he's saying, you guys know what love is. You two women, because it's Susanna and the Countess. You know what love is. See if what I have in my heart is love. See if what I'm going to describe to you is love. So the next part is quello che io provo vi ridirò. So what I feel, I will tell you. E per me nuovo capir non sol. So it's new to me, I don't know. So like I said, he's saying, I'm going to tell you what it is I'm feeling. It's a new thing to me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Just, yeah, I'm going to describe it to you. So then he says, sento un affetto pien de désir. So I feel an affection full of desire. So that's what he's feeling. Cora e diletto, cora e martir. That is now delighted. That is now, the word I kept coming up with was martyr. Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with some of the words in this translation. So martyr, you might see translated several different ways. But the idea is the same. Like martyr, it's just torment. He feels an affection full of desire that is now at one point delighted, and other is like full of martyrdom, is full of torment. And it's tearing him apart. It's going back and forth between being the best thing in the world and the worst thing in the world. Which, you know, that emotion that you feel when you have a crush, that's pretty accurate on a good description of that first few initial feelings that you have for someone, right? So he goes on, gelo e poi sento l'alma avvampar. So I freeze up and then I feel my soul flare up. So it's that kind of back and forth, the hot and cold. E in un momento torno a gelar. And in a moment, I go back to freezing. So he says, I freeze and then I feel my soul flare up, but then I go back to freezing, and it's this back and forth. So then it goes, ricerco un bene fuori di me. I am looking for a good outside of myself. Bene was another one that, the translation on that varied quite a bit. So bene, one translated as an affection. Sometimes it was like, sort of like a help. But he's basically looking for something good, something useful, something helpful. He's looking for something outside of himself. But I guess in a way that in the context of this whole little chunk right here, that the word kind of doesn't matter too much how you exactly translate it, because he's looking for something outside of himself. He's looking for something. Like this translation I got good. Some translations I got affection. Some translations it was more like a help. But he's looking for something. And that's the really important part here. Non so che tiene, non so cos'è. I don't know who holds it. I don't know what it is. So he's looking for something. He's feeling this passion. He's feeling this hot and cold. He's feeling this back and forth, and he's looking for some kind of help. He's looking for something outside of himself. He doesn't know what holds it. He doesn't know what it is. He just is like, I'm feeling this thing and I'm very confused by my emotions right now. Which, you know, young teenage boy, actually, frankly, any teenager in general, honestly, it's not just boys, it's everyone, right? We've all gone through that phase of just being a dumb teenager and just being like, I have these feelings for the first time in my life. What is this? What do I do with this? I don't know. And also, just in general, when you're at that age, everything is just like to the extreme, you know? It's there's very little that you feel on just like, oh, middle of the road, like pretty level. You know, your brain is developing still, it's still trying to form things together, and the last few pieces of like the emotional part of your brain are just starting to come together. And so you spend a lot of time going like back and forth on everything, and you're just like, I don't know what's going on. Why do I feel this way? What is going on with me? I've never had this before. And Cherubino is basically going through puberty right now. So then he goes on and really gets dramatic into it. Sospiro e gemmo senza voler. I sigh and groan without wanting to. Palpito e tremo senza saper. I throb and tremble without knowing. So he's like, I just find myself sighing whenever I feel like, just randomly, I don't know why. I just sighing and groaning and throbbing and trembling, and just, you know, he's being a bit dramatic about it. But like, because Cherubino is very dramatic in this whole opera, and which I think is more of a Cherubino thing than just like, oh, he's a teenage boy. Like, he's got the emotions of being a teenager, but like, Cherubino is like still another level of being a little bit dramatic. But he's like, I sigh and I groan and I don't know why, and I throb and I tremble, and I just don't know. I just do it involuntarily. See how he seems to kind of almost imply it. It's just like, I can't really help it. It just comes out of me. I don't know what's wrong with me. Then he goes on to say, non trovo pace notte né di. So I can't find peace night or day. Just this keeps haunting him. Ma pur mi piace languir così. But yet, I like it to languish like this. Like I said, he's a little bit of a drama king. So he goes back and forth. It's just like, I can't find peace. This is tormenting me every single day, day in and day out, night and day. But you know what? I don't want to stop it. I kind of like it. I kind of like being able to languish like this. There's something great about this. And he's trying to be, you know, he's trying to be a poet here and trying to write his own poetry and describe what it is, what he's feeling. And the whole time, by the way, especially in a lot of the renditions that I tend to see, I've seen videos on stage, the Countess and Susanna the whole time tend to just like watch Cherubino going through this and they go, oh, you cute little boy. I don't think it's ever really meant that Susanna and the Countess take Cherubino seriously in any kind of way. They know what he is. He flirts with these women. He flirts with all the women, like I said. But the Countess and Susanna kind of just like, they let him do it to a certain extent. Obviously, like, if he's like, hey babe, they're like, no. But but when he's like going on in this rant like this, and he's like, I languish day in and day out, I can't find peace, but yet I love it and I don't know what this is. They're just like off in the corner going, oh, and he's just cute. He's just the cutest little thing. So yeah, because there's that age difference too. Because the Countess is married and Susanna is going to get married, and they just know he's this cute young boy who's like experiencing love for the first time. And then the whole thing ends with the voi che sapete again. So I'll read through that again for you. So it's voi che sapete che cosa è amor. So you that know what love is. Donde vedete s'io l'ho nel cor. Woman, you see if I have it in my heart. Donde vedete s'io l'ho nel cor. Woman, you see if I have it in my heart. So there's no, it's pretty straight through for this one. There's no like verses or anything like that. And then that's his whole little song that he sings for this woman, is that he's just like saying, I have this feeling, this emotion in my heart, and I don't know what it is, and it's passionate, and it's fire, and it's ice, and it hurts, and it's great, and I don't know what this is. Can you please help me? And he's writing this to try to, just as a song, but he also specifically, he did give it to the Countess because he's got a huge crush on her. And this is a song that, you know, like some of the other ones, I feel like you can get a lot of good stuff out of the lyrics. But this one, I feel like you do get more out of it watching it. You should know what he's saying because it can be a little bit confusing, if you don't understand the lyrics. But this one definitely you should go watch a performance of this, because it's the awkward little, like when they're like act like a little boy and they're just like and they're like sweating and panicking. That's what really makes this aria in particular. So yeah, go watch a version of this and go enjoy this whole opera. But yeah, that's really all I had for today's video. If you like this whole series, the What the Heck Are They Singing video, I do have a playlist on my channel where you can check out all my videos that I've done in this series so far, so you don't have to like search around at all. But yeah, if you like this video and you want to see more kind of content of just talking about music, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. Goodbye! Is there anything else I wanted to say to that? Story of this opera, but you want it. Yeah. He spends basically the whole entire opera. Earlier in the opera, I keep wanting to say aria and opera, and it comes out opera. Fuori di me.